feel like textiles can often be looked down on and it can be seen as a craft that's just for fun, but I think there's so much power in using the textiles. Even just the way I use my needle to stitch in and out of the hessian fabric and to kind of almost repair the hessian, and all these different movements I'm using as well, it's just so beautiful. I feel like that's something that's always been really important in my work. My name is Joke Amusan and I'm a textile artist. My work is all about empowering black women and sharing stories of the black woman, and for me that's something that's always been really important growing up. In my artwork I mainly use hessian and red yarn, and even just using textiles as a whole is something that is so important to Nigerian culture. And me being German Nigerian, that's something that's always been really important to me, because I felt like growing up I didn't really have that connection to my heritage, and now I've been trying to see how I can kind of infuse that back into my life, because I was born in Germany and I didn't really have as much of that Nigerian culture. And then when I moved to England, I felt like I had to erase my culture in a way so that I can fit in. And then going to uni, I felt like, okay, now I really want to explore my culture again, because that's something that I feel like has been minimized or taken away from me in a way that I didn't even realize until it was maybe too late. And so when it comes to the textiles I use, I was really researching what is important in Nigerian culture, and textiles is something that's ingrained in us, and I feel like there's so much power in using textiles. So using red yarn is something that's, I don't know, I think the reason I started using red yarn is because when I think of the colour red, I think of, well, naturally people would think of stop sign or warning sign. It's something that can tend to be quite negative, but when I see the colour red, I also see it as something that demands to be seen. It's something that, like, you can't not see it. Like, once it's existing, it's like it holds a certain presence. And so with my use of the colour red, I want people to see, to kind of, I want my words, so I think for me, my words demand to be seen, and that's something that's really important. But I want to challenge the way you see the colour red. So when you see my words, you might maybe at first point think, oh, this is going to be something that's quite negative. But actually the surprise of it being something that's quite empowering is something that I really love as well. And then also when it comes to the colour red, I think of quite literally blood, or, you know, the blood that's running through our veins, the connections that we have with each other in that sense. I think it's a really beautiful colour actually. When it comes to me using the hessian and the yarn, that's something that I was looking into the transatlantic slave trade, and that's something that I really want to portray through my work. Looking into the treatment of African slaves on the boats, obviously it was very brutal and very harsh, and I was looking into what they were wearing and what they must have felt, and looking into the hessian fabric, that's something that I just came across. I think I just saw like a bag of, like a sack of coffee beans or a sack of potatoes, something like that, and then it just reminded me of the whole idea of transporting products overseas and the hessian fabric being quite durable but also very rough and coarse. And then it just reminded me in a way of that whole idea of leaving your country behind, but then also in a way leaving a part of yourself behind, because the whole idea of taking slaves was to also erase their culture and to erase their identity. And for me, I wanted to say, like, my whole idea was to use a fabric that is often overlooked and is overused in many ways, but also very organic, and to stitch words of positivity and empowerment into them. So when I display my artworks onto the wall, or onto the ceiling even, you're forced to look at it, and it's something that is so ordinary and nothing really, really special, but the words of positivity is my way of forcing you to acknowledge the brutal past, but then also seeing that out of that brutal past, so much, I mean, there's so many amazing black women and black men who exist today who are thriving and who are doing amazing things, and that's my idea of not allowing the negativity and the history of the past to be erased, but having that on display at the same time as seeing that we are powerful as we are existing today, rather than for people to look down on us. This is actually quite interesting because I never used to wear the colour red, because I thought red would, it's not a colour that would look good on me. I don't know why, I just saw it like that. I think in many ways, through the clothes I was wearing, I didn't really want to stand out. So while my artwork was doing all the talking and was demanding to be seen, I, on the other hand, was kind of still in that bubble of, yeah, I'll just stay behind the scenes. And then one day my friend actually said to me, like, oh, you should wear red would look good on you. I'm just thinking of this now, it's actually quite interesting because I remember the first day I wore red, like properly wear. Like I'm pretty sure I've worn red when I was when I was a child, but actually wearing red and acknowledging that I'm wearing the color red. I remember like how it made me feel. Like it actually made me feel really confident in a way, even though it's just a color. So now it's actually one of my favorite colors to wear. Like even when it comes to my color scheme of the clothes and the items, the clothing color scheme that I wear, I tend to wear a lot of browns and creams, but I also love wearing red. So it's, yeah.